Scorpio. I hope that you can hear me well. Let me put on my pen, honey, because you know I love wearing this, right? I don't want to stab myself with it. I'm listening to Khruangbin. You know I love them. All right. Let's just get ourselves prepped here. Hello? You can hear me? Yes, I love it. All right, let me get a little bit of my... Scorpio, November 2019. Scorpio, November 2019. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you, God, for being able to give these messages through me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to read Scorpio. We know how deep it can get. We know how far back it goes. We know its conditions. We know we're aware of our limitations, right? That's what's so hard, because you can't really change where you come from, right? All you know is where you're going. Put the deck for you guys. Sun, Moon, Rising. If you have your sun in your 8th house, right? And planets in Scorpio. I'm using the cards and colors. So the world, this is talking about completion. It's number 21, right? You're reflecting on something, right? On an evolution, perhaps. Growth, definitely. Something is being birthed. Something is being created, right? It's almost kind of like you're feeling like you're at the end of something, or maybe something is completing itself, right? It is talking about, time and waiting for something to be over. So you might be waiting for something to be over so that something can begin, right? It could even be a phase, right? A karmic phase, an era, right? A period. You know what I mean? Because the world does talk about a period coming to a cycle, right? A cycle coming to a close or something like that. And we do have a new moon coming up. So this is talking about that 12th house energy of Libra, relationships, right? Social relationships, how you relate to the world, things that affect you, right? That you might just be keeping to yourself as well, because it does talk about hidden things, right? With the threes being related to the Empress, right? Which is connected to the divine energy source, the divine feminine energy source, right? This is Saturn. Saturn is talking about karmic lessons. Saturn is conjunct Pluto right now. It's going back and forth between being conjunct with Pluto in Capricorn, right? Which for you, that's your 3rd house. Siblings, right? 3rd house is talking about children, communication, how you connect, how you think. You know what I mean? So how you think, your mind could be being reshaped. You know what I mean? It could even have something to do with perspective, because it is Gemini. It is talking about the mental processes of things, right? Ruler being Mercury. And now you're about to have a Mercury retrograde in your 1st house of self, identifying you, identification, who I am, what I do, right? And Mars is ruling your 1st house, especially if you're a Scorpio rising. And Mars naturally rules the 1st house. So being that, we have Venus in Scorpio right now, we have Mercury there as well. You're probably already feeling the effects of the Mercury retrograde. So the Mercury retrograde is definitely going to bring some completion, right? Right? And Mercury is in Scorpio. What planet rules Scorpio? Mars. Mars is where? In Libra, I believe. And also look at where Pluto is. Pluto is in Capricorn. Pluto and Mars are squaring each other, right? They did a few days ago or something like that. Or maybe a day or two ago. We could be still in that energy. So there's like some tensions, right? Between your relationships and also how you govern your life and how you see your life, your personal life and your career goals and those things, and how your relationships may have affected those types of things, or what you might have been building in your life. Because Saturn, right, the world talks about building, and Saturn is actually exalted in Libra, and Saturn talks about responsibilities within relationships and responsibilities within environmental circumstances, right, and places that you find yourself, right. It also has to do with what you attach yourself to. So some of you guys might be detaching from things that maybe no longer were serving you, or maybe you're detaching from things that you feel like, or maybe karmically you've closed out some of those cycles. You know what I mean? So now you understand that you have sort of like grown up or matured out of something, because the world does talk about maturity. You know what I mean? So a lot of you are dealing with like ways that you have matured, right? And you're refocusing, because Saturn in the world does ask us to focus. It wants us to really get to the point, right? It wants us to understand, because the threes are talking about understanding things, right? Things are being revealed through this karmic evolution that you've gone through, okay? You've also had to rely on yourself, because Saturn talks about self-reliance, okay? And so does Capricorn, the effort, right? You've gone through a lot of karmic tests. You've gone through some tests here. Let me go ahead and lay the cards out. Hopefully that's not too loud. I'm using the Mariel Tarot. This is what the back looks like. Let me turn the music down a little bit. Okay. Alright, so now I'm just going to do a classic ascendant spread, and then I'm going to go through the reading. Okay, so we got the world here at the bottom, right? It was loud, right? Okay, I'm glad. Now we're really in the reading. Okay, yeah, you guys can totally tell me, right? Just be nice about it, because I'm Libra, Cancer, Libra. Okay, so let's see the energy that's at the beginning of the reading, right? Where's our current state of being? Two of discs. So this is talking about change, right? Look at this. Change in the eyes, right? You're seeing the change before your eyes, okay? And you're experiencing something that's making you feel a little bit more confident about what it is that you're dealing with. It's talking about the effort that it takes to see something, right? It's kind of like working through it. You know, you're going through some ups and downs, right? You're gaining some strength about you. And this is Jupiter in Capricorn, which is debilitated. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like all the things condensed, right? So you might be feeling the weight of all of the responsibilities, right? Because you do have the world here, and this is talking about responsibilities. And it also talks about authority, or governing authority, or how you govern with your own authority. You know what I mean? Being aware of your authority, okay? And also where it is that you have to kind of like show yourself, right? It's the proof of things, definitely with the Two of Discs, because it's the most pure earth energy. It's the earth energy being reflected. So it's kind of like you put effort into something that you're kind of moving towards, right? So this could even be talking about moving or going from one place to another, right? It could also be talking about how you manage, right? How you manage your finances and how you manage your time, okay? It could also have to do with how you're managing work and family, okay? Definitely with the world being here, and it being related to the Empress being a 3, okay? And this 2 here is related to that divine feminine energy of the High Priestess, because it is a 2, right? So it's talking about something being revealed through hard work, right? You're being shown something through the work, okay? You're having to work on something. You could even be having to work on a committed relationship, right? Or you could be working on being able to see the value within something that already existed, that was already there, right? Because that's what the world teaches you. The world teaches us how to see what was already there, but we have to work to kind of like season and build and kind of like strengthen what is already there, so that it can become more, so that it can live up to its potential. So this is also talking about potential, with the world card being here, challenging and testing your potential to see where change is possible, right? And that's what we talk about with the opportunity here of Jupiter being in Capricorn. It's kind of like you're restricted, but you're restricted so you can really see, you know, right, what is actually possible. Because the twos talk about the possibilities being related to that Neptunian energy, right? And Neptune is in Pisces right now, squaring off with Sagittarius, right? And Jupiter is there, right? Finishing its transit there, but it's still there. You know what I mean? So we are definitely experiencing opportunities for change to happen, you know, and it's definitely needed change, right? Because we were at the beginning of something, right? Of the acknowledgement of something that, you know, we were aware that was as a part of our reality that we probably needed to change because of the karmic lessons that we've learned and outgrowing some of those things, right? So then we start to become challenged by our awareness of what needs to change and also by things that are being forced to change karmically, right? So we're dealing with that. But it definitely is talking about, you know, you working towards that change now that you're seeing that it's possible. Okay? Thank goodness. So now let's look at what's challenging you or what's coming in as your immediate influence. The Tower. We just talked about change, didn't we? Capricorn, Saturn, foundations. The Tower is here. This is Mars. Mars is in Libra, right? And the twos definitely have something to do with, you know, balancing things out. They're related to Venus as well, right? So you could be seeing solid changes within relationships or patterns, right? Because the sorry, I don't really stutter. I do that when I'm reading though. I don't stutter in real life. The Pentacles are talking about patterns that create realities, right? And now we're kind of like seeing an imbalance within a pattern, or we're seeing changes within a pattern, right? Anyway, and the universe is sort of inciting this change for some of you Scorpios, you know what I mean? Mars is talking about responsibilities and capabilities, you know, and when the Tower comes in, it makes us actually realize, right? Because it is kind of like a reckoning, right? Recognizing something, acknowledging something, right? The Tower is number what? 16, and that's a 7. So there's something here to be gained out of this Tower coming in and you know, changing the structure of something, right? And the Tower is also talking about, you know, moving forward, right? So what are we going to do moving forward now that something has changed completely and possibly forever, because we're talking about the world here, right? And Saturn and things being solid and, you know, karmic pages being turned over, right? But it's like some lesson has been learned here, Scorpio, right? A valuable lesson with the world and the Two of Discs being here, and then Mars coming in and being your planetary ruler, right? Originally, right here over the Two of Discs. So some of you guys are dealing with relationships, but some of you guys are also dealing with business things, right? Financial things, happenings, right? Workings, going ons, the fluctuation of money, patterns of money as well. Where is the money going? Where are these funds being allocated? You know what I mean? What am I spending? What am I looking at? What changes can I make? Can I downsize? Can I stop spending so much money? Or maybe this is actually, you know, yeah. Some of you guys could be dealing with the loss of a job, right? With the Tower coming in here. And then it being a 7, it's related to, you know, there could have been a fight here over money or a fight over something. Time, right? Fight over money or time. Okay? Or what might be being shared, right? Money, time, what's being shared. Also, you know, how money might be affecting a relationship. Definitely. Because Mars is actually in Libra right now. I'm pretty sure. You know. And Venus, the dispositing planet of Libra, right? Or the planetary ruler. Sorry, I always do that. So let's see. Mars is in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. Now, we have to look at where Venus is right now. It's actually in Scorpio, right? Okay, so there's some transformations going on for sure, right? There's some realizations going on for sure. Yes. Something has come in and like sort of like done something about the ego, the confidence, right? Maybe you could have lost confidence in something, right? In a job. You could have lost confidence in someone that you may have trusted in, right? That, you know, depending on with this Jupiter and Capricorn being here. Okay? Because the twos do talk about submitting to something. Whew, honey. Okay, let's look at your past position, Scorpio. You saw me shuffle the cards. Saturn and Libra, karmic relationships, right? And this 3 right here is related to the world. So there's some definitely some endings with some relationships. Or these are the hard facts, right? That are making you realize what a relationship might have meant, right? Because it's talking about karma. It is talking about learning things, learning lessons, right? And the 3s are definitely talking about, you know, some things that happen over and over and over again that show us something that is real. Okay? Because it's talking about, you know, cycles, right? Circles, going in circles, right? So I feel like some of you guys might be feeling like you're going in circles with something, with someone, with something. You know what I mean? Going in circles with talking, right? Because it's talking about communication. It's also talking about children. So it's talking about the karmic effects of how, you know, the karmic circumstances of a relationship might be affecting children, right? In some kind of way. Or this could even be talking about karma that is related to past childhood trauma, right? And that's something that can be changed. That's an environment from the past that can be changed, right? We can't go back and change our partner's past that has basically made them who they are when they've come to us, right? A 7, right? People come to you damaged. Okay? That's true. That's real. People come, the camera, the table. People come to you damaged, right? And we go to other people damaged, okay? And we can't really make that their responsibility. We have to work through it on our own, you know? And some of you have definitely been very aware of that, you know, where your past trauma and other people's past trauma have come together, and now you can also relate, because the 3s are talking about relating to something, because it's Empress energy, Venus, right? You're relating to this karma, right? It's almost like you're being challenged as well, still, by a relationship that might be over, you know? And that's what Mercury, that rules the 3rd house, right? Venus, which is the Empress, is actually the esoteric ruler of Mercury, okay? So we're talking about that. Feeling bad about what didn't come about, what wasn't really formed, what wasn't really substantiated. It didn't really happen the way that I wanted it to happen, you know? That type of thing. Now let's look at your sun position. This is deep, but y'all Scorpio, so we know how that goes, right? We can deal with some deep stuff. Damn. It's okay. It's the Knight of Wands. It just, these cards, Marielle Tarot, they're very, like I said, they're saturated and a little dark. So we're dealing with, you know, some power here, right? This is the Knight of Wands. This is double fire, right? Look at that energy there. Something's moving fast, moving quickly, or moving forward. Or this could just be you feeling passionate about the new things that you're creating, right? You might even be feeling anxious about something starting or changing something, because the Knight of Wands definitely wants to change something. It's mutable energy. It's Sagittarius, but it's 1/3 Scorpio. So you could be feeling, you know, that energy of like your 2nd house. You know what I mean? Moving forward, right? And the 2nd house is talking about what you have. So you could be thinking about what you have, right? You could be aware of what you have. This could be aware of what you have to lose, or what you might even have to kind of like sacrifice through transforming or letting go of something. You know, we're talking about power plays here too, with the sun, with the Sagittarius card here being with the sun. So there's a power play going on, right? You know, and there's something dealing with sex or sexuality here, because this is a Sagittarius card with 1/3 Scorpio energy, right? And it's talking about changes, right? And also being intimidated by some changes or some fluctuations or things maybe getting out of control, maybe being intimidated by that. You know what I mean? This could even be meaning wanting to gain control out of something that may have gotten out of control or you felt like could have or almost was. Because the sun is ruled by Leo, and that squares your energy. Pluto, your planetary ruler, is actually exalted in that Leo energy. Okay? And we're talking about that sun energy, and we're talking about 1/3 Scorpio with this card being, you know, a court card. Right? And that 1/3 is Scorpio, sex. Sagittarius, sex. I don't know. Sexuality in some kind of way. But then it's also talking about philosophies that have changed, right? Your philosophies may have changed about sex, or your philosophies may have just changed about commitments, right? Because you're aware of something that has changed in terms of commitment and how you commit. You're committed to work, committed to love, committed to family, all of those things. You know what I mean? Because Sagittarius is your second house of earned income and also what you have, right? It's kind of like what you have earned. You know what I mean? So you could even be feeling like you want to protect what you have earned, right? In some kind of way. Oh my gosh. Y'all, with this energy. You know, but Sagittarius is very electrifying in a kind of way. So I feel like you're trying to gain some kind of motivation to move forward with something. You know what I mean? And you do have the Tower here, which is a Saturn related to the Chariot, right? And then we're talking about a Knight, which is related to the Chariot too, which is movement forward. How can you move forward confidently after this ending, right? You're seeing what you're working with here, what your challenges were, right? Ups and downs. There are pros and cons, you know what I mean, to also getting what you want. Pros and cons to getting what you want. Because getting what you want might mean that you might have to sacrifice something, you know what I mean, for good. Because the Tower talks about for good. Change for good, you know? There's some emotions attached to this change, right? You're doing what you have to do, even if it does hurt. You know what I mean? And that's what the Three of Wands talk about. Doing what you have to do, even though it does hurt. That means even talking to somebody about something. Or, you know, expressing something verbally. You know what I mean? Or just, you know, cutting something for good. Because the swords do talk about chopping things. You know what I mean? And this is Libra, and Libra does make decisions that are just, and when they do make a decision, it really is a decision that has been made, right? And that's why Saturn is there, because it does talk about a responsibility to making the right choices and making the right decisions. And Capricorn is the most mature Earth sign, so it really is very discriminate. It really does try to make those critical choices. You know what I mean? It really is kind of very it's very sensitive. It is very critical because think of how goats climb up the sides of dams and things. It's very, very critical with that Capricorn energy, you know, and it's also what you attach yourself to, what types of people, because Libra does talk about personality, right? Here. Personalities that don't mix, that don't match. Saturn and Libra. Understanding understanding your responsibility, holding yourself accountable, right? Within all the ups and downs within a relationship. You know what I mean? Because everybody has their part. You have your part, they have their part, we have our part, right? You know? Because this is all together now. We're in this together. Wasn't that a show? Anyway, let's look at your moon position now. Wow, okay. Page of Swords. Scorpio, you could even be dealing with a Libra because Libra got this card this week, you know, on Instagram. I put 2 sets of weeklies up this week, Instagram and Instagram and YouTube. So if you want to get both of those, you have to look at both of them. Ooh. So the Page of Swords is talking about change. It's talking about a fresh take on something. It's letting go, opening yourself up to a change, right? It is optimism because it's air. You see that? In the sky, open, ready for it, whatever it is. Let's change it, you know? And it is ruled by the World card because the pages are ruled by Saturn. And it's talking about learning lessons for sure. And this card is referring back to the Three of Swords, right? And look at this. It's almost like this person's heart has been actually taken out of their chest. And here it is. You know what I mean? So you could be letting go of some things, some struggles that you might be having with your emotions. You could even be trying to make sense of your emotions, right? Because this card does speak about immaturity, right? In terms of how you might be thinking or communicating. Or maybe you just might be feeling like you don't have all the answers. You know what I mean? And that's fine if you don't feel like you have all the answers, right? Because the pages are young and the moon needs to feel, it needs to express. You know what I mean? And you may not have the words to express, right? Because it's a page and it's an air and it's ruled by an earth, right? So this could even be talking about somebody could possibly being emotionally cold, childish in the way that they communicate, childish in the way that they act emotionally, right? Their emotional triggers being childish, right? You could be dealing with a child, right? What to do, you know, how your children identify with you as well. You could be thinking about what your children think of you. Some of you out there who have children, right? And the pages do bring in announcements. So this could be an announcement or something. Someone might say something, or there could be like an interaction that might change the game for you, right? And it talks about also healing, you know? So some of you could be healing emotionally through your children, right? Through nurturing your children, you could be healing emotionally, right? And that's very karmic, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at your anxieties. Temperance, that's number 14, so that's a 5, right? And meaning the tower being here is the second stage of spiritual enlightenment. And then you have the last stage, the 7th stage of spiritual enlightenment, which is the world here, right? So that's very significant, which is good. Now, the Temperance card is talking about dealing with the circumstances, right? You find yourself in a place where you need to get out of something, right? Because it is a 14, you are aware of how something has ended or completed. Or you might even be aware of structures that need to change. Because this is talking about learning, being that it's Sagittarius energy, but it's a 5, so then it's related to the Hierophant, which is talking about learning, which is talking about, you know, also, you know, maturity, and it's talking about what you have, right? You definitely have your you know, your experience, right? So this is also talking about your experience. And valuing yourself based on your experience, right? It is talking about learning. Hey, Sag. It is talking about learning, right? And it's talking about your conditions, right? The conditions that you face and getting through those conditions, right? How do you identify and connect with your conditions? You know, where you come from as well. You know, these are the difficulties in like, I don't know, it's kind of like fighting your way through life because, you know, even just where you come from, sometimes the conditions that you are born in are not ones that are going to be favorable in life. You know what I mean? To most people. But then that's where the challenges come in. That's where the conflict comes in, right? Which is bringing a level of strength to you, right? And courage, right? You have the strength and the courage to get through whatever this thing is that might be challenging you in terms of family, in terms of romance, right? Marriage and commitment. And it also could be dealing with work. You know what I mean? What have you learned? What have you learned that you can apply to your reality now, right? That's going to help sort of like ease, you know, whatever it is that you feel like you're being challenged by, right? And the 5, it does have to do with, you know, you know, the 5s have to do with like changes, your status quo changing. You know what I mean? Because it's your experience has led you to believe, because you're the fives, the really to the Hierophant. It's talking about belief systems. Your experience has led you to believe that there is something different out there for you. There is something that can be different. You know what I mean? You can create something different. This is putting all of the things together, all of your experiences together, right? And moving forward so you can have different experiences. It is talking about what you have learned. It is talking about power. You know what I mean? You have the power to change. You just have to believe that you can. Whatever it is that you're trying to change. Because it could just be something spiritual. It could be like your belief systems that you are trying to change. It may not be that you're trying to, not be married anymore, or not be living with someone anymore, or not be working somewhere anymore, or not be doing the career choice that you've chosen. You know what I mean? It could be any of those things. But this is definitely talking about, moving forward. You're in the middle of realizing what it's going to take for you to move forward past a conflict that you have anxieties about. You have anxieties about moving on, right? Okay, let me look at the next one. Let us. Nice. Okay, so here we go. This is also kind of related to Sagittarius, you know what I mean? Because the Hermit is the ninth, is number 9, right? That's Virgo energy, and Virgo squares Sagittarius. Okay? This is kind of related to the moon as well, because it's a 9 and the moon is number 18. So this is talking about going in, discovering some things about yourself, right? Not being critical of others, but just kind of like allowing yourself to see what it is about you that you are discovering might need to change. First time ever. Hi, Muffin on the read. Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm using the Mariel Tarot, by the way. I'm happy you found us too. Found me in spirit, right? So yeah, the Hermit is also talking about, you could be detaching, and spending some time alone and realizing where you stand with something. What have you learned, right? Because the Hermit is kind of trying to decide, what have I learned? What plans can I make? You know what I mean? How can I move forward? Okay? Because the 9s are talking about moving forward and evolution. How have I changed? Because Virgo does want to change things. It's ruled by Mercury. You know what I mean? And Mercury rules a house that squares you. It rules 2 houses that actually, no, it doesn't rule Leo, but Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, which squares you, But Uranus, the planet of change, right, is exalted in Scorpio. So we are talking about changes. We are talking about, discovering new things about yourself, right? For sure. And that's in the Mars position. So this is telling you that you need to kind of like spend some quiet time alone too. Because the Hermit does talk about quiet time alone, right? It's a spiritual quest of sorts, right? Do that. Because the Hermit can be very active. Virgo can be very active in what it's trying to do. A lot of things all at the same time, and it can make you stressed out. Because this is the Hermit in the Mars position in this spread that I'm doing, right? I have Mars in Virgo, so I know. That 9, understanding what it is what's causing you to be emotionally triggered, right? Because this is a very watery card in this deck, right? Very watery. So we are talking about emotions, and Virgo can control their emotions, right? They are esoterically ruled by the moon, okay? And it does talk about natural patterns, right? And it's natural to need to feel to be secluded or to kind of like take yourself out of, the environment, right? So that you can just make some changes spiritually. Definitely going through some spiritual changes. Evolution's growth, right? Because the Hermit is talking about growth. You're doing this for growth and wisdom too, right? Because learning is growth, okay? We could even be dealing with work here too. Mars being the Hermit being in the Mars position is talking about work experience. You know, making yourself useful. Oh wow. In the Venus position, you got the Emperor, right? Venus is talking about pleasure, right? The Emperor is talking about wanting, desiring, right? It's also talking about leadership and foundations and structures, okay? This could be talking about somebody having too much power within a relationship, right? Or someone is actually the actual foundation in a relationship. You know, somebody may have made you feel safe, right? The Emperor being in the Venus position, right? Being Mars, being Aries. So that's sort of like a little conjunction between oppositions. Opposites attract, right? The Emperor wants things, you know. He doesn't really get too emotionally attached to things. He likes to see things carried out in a very practical way. Um, not too thoughtful, right? So he could be a little impulsive. So you might even be dealing with someone that's impulsive. This person could even have something to do with this change that you might be experiencing. They may have incited this change. It could be a business partner, or it could be somebody that you're dealing with business wise, right? And Mars is in Libra. Emperor is Aries energy ruled by Mars. Okay? And then we're also dealing with this 4. It's talking about, the 4th house, right? Environments. Somebody could be controlling an environment, right? Or some aspect within an environment, right? In an authoritative way, right? It's almost like someone is obviously in control in a relationship. This could be a father, right? Or a husband, right? Or maybe like a patriarch of the family. This could be someone getting involved, right? This could be a male person or somebody with very yang energy. It could be a female, definitely, for sure. It doesn't really matter. This is all in fluid energy. This is energy. This is a person that is in control in a relationship, right? Or business wise, somebody that wants to take control or have control or be, or because it's talking about awareness and responsibility, right? You have to hold yourself accountable for what what you do, because the Emperor does things, right? And he does them from a place of authority. So if anything happens or if anything goes wrong, it's because it's him. He's the one. you know Responsibility as well. We're thinking about that. Okay, and it's also talking about transformation, you know, and being able to control your impulses. Or maybe we're dealing with somebody that wasn't able to control their impulse, and that's what changed the scenario or changed the situation. It could even be their impulse to control. It may not be sexual, but it could be with the Emperor because it is kind of sexual, right? Okay, let's go ahead and look at your future card, Scorpio. The outcome and the energy moving forward is the Six of Swords. So this is talking about, you know, movement forward, right? It is talking a little bit about, you know, balance. It's also, talking about perspective, change in perspective. It's I think it's Mercury in Aquarius, right? And look at Mercury here in this picture with his bow, right? He's assisting, he's helping, right? Because it is a 6, so it's related to the 6th house of Virgo, which is talking about service, oriented things, Aquarius is talking about friends. Okay, so this could be your friends helping you move on from a difficult situation, right? From a challenge with the Five of Swords coming before this. Okay, or this could be you receiving some kind of like reciprocity. You know what I mean? Understanding why, understanding the who, what, when, where, and why. Remember Nick News W5 in like the 90s? I'm a millennial. Anyway, early millennial though. But the sixes are definitely talking about your understanding of what it's going to take to move forward. You know what I mean? It's the realization. Someone is giving, it's someone is also giving you advice. You know what I mean? Because you may not know what to do, or you may not understand it because it's kind of like you can't see it from the outside, right? And Aquarius definitely can see things from the outside looking in. That's for sure. And it is talking about making critical choices and decisions, right? Not letting things get too out of control, you know? And it is talking about change. Wow, 2 water signs. That's trine energy. That's harmonious. You can understand feelings, right? You can definitely communicate through that non-verbally. He's trying to change, right? That's what this is talking about, changing. For sure. Perspective in your mind. Because Aquarius deals with the mind and so does Mercury. You know? And I was talking about something changing in your mind with the Three of Swords here. The threes are Mercury. And this is Libra as well. He don't want to be a thug no more. He trying to be legit. Right. And Saturn definitely legitimizes things. Ooh, some stuff fell out. Saturn definitely legitimizes things, and the world does too, right? The world is legitimate. We have it. There is proof, right? And the world is talking about proof. Providence is talking about proof. Okay, so let's take a look at these cards that just fell out. A lot of them fell out. Oh, Lord. The Three of Discs. So this is also talking about change. It's talking about work. It's talking about responsibility, right? It's talking about... Oh, thank you. I love it. I love you. I love y'all. Three of Discs. This is an exaltation, right, of Mars and Capricorn. Providence got the light. Right? So this is dependability as well, right? Because it's a 3, it's related to the Empress. And Capricorn likes to get the work done and the effort, and Mars is doing it, responsible, right? And this is related to this Emperor. So somebody was depending on somebody in a relationship, and someone was giving someone too much power. You know what I mean? Because they were probably holding the fort or holding it down, and they are in control of the finances. Someone could be in control of the finances in a business, or somebody could be restricting what you're able to do, right? Whatever type of very innocent energy. Oh, girl. I don't know who, Aura. One of my exes, he told me I was very innocent at one point, and I looked at him and I was like, in comparison to you, hell yes. But I am by no means. Maybe now, I've been celibate for a while, but that was one point when I wasn't not, honey. I have Pluto in my first house. You are a woman, honey. Okay. With this 3 being here, related to the Empress. Okay. Now, the Three of Discs definitely gives this passion and desire a place to work. It gives it a channel. It gives it an environment to thrive. Right? So someone needs an environment to thrive in that they can really show what it is that they are made of, what it is that they are capable of, right? So there could be an environment being offered for this. There could be a job that's being offered. This could be a structure, a new place, building, right? Because it is Capricorn and it's Mars, and Mars and Capricorn is talking about building something, this could be talking about multiple jobs being done too. Having multiple responsibilities or multiple jobs, right? Or this could be us desiring change within a job scenario, right? And the 3s are talking about circumstances, right? that might be generated, because the threes are talking about generating and generations, right? So there could generations, maybe a family business, right? This could be talking about a family business. Some of you guys might be wanting to start a family business or be involved working with people that own a family business, right? Or you could be working on building a family business. Jeez. Or this could be a building that could be some focused on beauty, right? Being that it's a 3 here, you know? Wow. I thought these cards were going to be too intense for me, but it seems like they are perfect. And you know, I have Pluto in my first house, right? Or this could be you working on how you see your beauty and valuing your beauty, right? And thinking that you want to celebrate that and project it a little bit more. Because the threes could be, the threes are definitely talking about what you might be projecting black, because it's talking about reflecting. And a reflection is a projection back to you. Okay? So something could be being reflected back to you or told back to you. It could be with work, doing a good job, right? This also talks about growth and promotion. How do I know what planet is in my first house? What rising are you? If you know your rising, right, look up your birth chart. I like to go to astro charts, right, because it's very easy to read. In astro charts, you have to put in, you know, the place you were born, the city, the state, and then you also have to, that's like calling 411. And then you have to also put in the time of your birth. Make sure you know AM or PM, because that's going to determine. Right, exactly. So go and do that. And then it'll come up, and wherever it starts the ascendant, that's the first house. And if you have planets in the ascendant, that is very important, because that's talking about, you know, your personality and your identity, and things that are kind of like really a part of you, right? Your person that other people can feel and see, you know, because the first house is, you know, that's traditionally ruled by Mars and Pluto. And that's talking about power. So that ascendant does have power. Definitely if there is, ooh, you are an Ophioca Sag Cuspian. And you know, I know what that means. You're that serpent bearer, right? In between Scorpio and Sag. Okay. Giving 13th sign. All right. Okay, yes. I think my father might be one too. Speaking of fathers, the Hierophant is here. So this could be, you know, the fifth house is Leo, and that talks about father, that male authority energy, right? Okay, and it's also power, right? Okay, this is talking about the power to change your conditions, right? And where you might have been limited, okay? Right? Because our where we come from, right? Our environments, the places that we were born into, right? Our lineage, right? Our ancestry, that's energy passed through our generations, and those are a part of our conditions that we are born into. Okay? And you know, the Hierophant is talking about belief systems that come from the places that you were born into. You know, the people that you have inherited, right? And that have inherited you. And that's talking about karma, honey. Right? Uranus is in Taurus right now talking about change. Uranus is actually exalted in your sign. So right now it's in your house of relationships talking about great change happening, right? Okay? It's also talking about structures within your belief systems, okay? Because Taurus is fixed, so they're very set. They're also the most stable energy because it's earth and it's fixed. And that's difficult because with Uranus being there, it's like not wanting that change, honey. Because Uranus rules Aquarius, which is an air sign, which is talking about detaching from things, right? Rising above. Taurus is earth, and that is not detaching, that is held, right? And it's also fixed. So it's held earth. What can I hold in my hand? What do I have here? What is a value here? Quantity, quality, all of it, right? And you could be seeing like This could be in regards to a family member, maybe wanting to help a family member, or a family member wanting to help you in some kind of way, shape, or form. This could be you mentoring someone, or a family member sort of like encouraging you, giving you some sort of like spiritual advice about a commitment, or about, just how you see yourself succeeding with work, right? Because the fifth house, Leo, is talking about succeeding and success and energy that's put towards success, right? And creativity. And we're talking about, just the challenges that you might be faced with in your reality that you feel like you would like to change but can't, you know? Those are things that you inherit. It is talking about Uranus is basically, that's God energy, because those are things that we can't explain, right? Things that you can't explain, God, right? And it's talking about allowing things that you can explain that God has basically ordained for you. He's set in motion for you. He's created for you. It is talking about transformation too, because God will want you to change things that aren't working for you. If you're allowing things that aren't bringing you the fortune or the blessings that He meant for you, then it's kind of like you're going to have some things change, right? How you relate to your experience is going to have to change, because it's kind of like what you relate to is like kind of like you allow those things to come in and sort of shape your perspective, or who you might think you are, right? So it's kind of like someone may not want to change who they are, or you might be finding some difficulties changing who you are, because of what you have or what you may not have, or how you might be restricted. Because the Hierophant does talk about restrictions, because it's talking about margins, right? And environments that we sort of house ourselves in, places that we kind of get comfortable in, right? So you could have been comfortable, someone was too comfortable, or there's some situation where you might be feeling too comfortable. Here we have the Eight of Wands, which is Mercury in Sagittarius. And this is talking about, not feeling restricted, because Mercury likes to just kind of be open-minded and free. So this is talking about freedom of something. She's, right, feeling free, right? This is also very optimistic, okay, because of that Sagittarius energy. And it's travel, it's free to move forward, free to kind of like have many things happen, right? It's talking about, allowing yourself to go for what it is that you want, definitely. Because it's related to the 8th house, which is Scorpio energy, right? Power, strength, will, also truth of character in some sense. But it's kind of like letting go of some things that you might have been holding on to, right, out of a need to control, being that the Strength card rules the 8s and Pluto is exalted in Leo, and the Sun is also talking about power, right, energy, okay, vitality, for sure. And it's messages coming in and things like that, for sure. But it's also talking about, just kind of like pushing through something, allowing something to occur, because it's allowing something to get you moving forward, to encourage you, not being in control of something that's meant to teach you something, because it is Sagittarius. So you're meant to learn something here. And Mercury is talking about information, and it is talking about, something being hidden as well, because it is the 8th house. There's something hidden within an opportunity, but you need to allow yourself to be flexible and feel flexible to take advantage of the opportunity in some kind of way. And it may not, if some of you are feeling comfortable, because we do have the Hierophant here, then it's not going to change something drastically for you, perhaps, but maybe in the end or moving forward. But some of you might even need this thing to change. It's a breakthrough, you kind of do need a breakthrough. In the night again, it comes. Oh, love. Okay, so here we go with the future card, the Fool, Uranus. We just talked all that talk about change. I don't know, y'all. The Fool, Uranus, optimism, freedom, right? You know, this is talking about change. I did talk about how Uranus was in Taurus, and we did get the Hierophant here. We did get, you know, what is that? No other Aquarius cards. Oh, the Six of Wands, yeah, or Six of Swords. We got that. That's talking about change as well. Moving forward, right, into a place where you feel like you are more you that you belong, right, or somewhere, some kind of way. In some kind of way, you're feeling like you belong again. You could even be feeling like you belong again to the place that you already are in, or you could be feeling like you belong again to a place that you are coming back to, or not even coming back to, that you just already were in, like I said before. Because I talked about God, and I talked about the power of God, and I talked about Uranus, right? Anything and everything, anything that can happen will, right? That's what Uranus talks about. And it's talking about setting, detaching from that which might be restricting you. Because Uranus is not restricted, and neither is the Fool. You see that? And you see all of the beautiful things that happen when you don't get stuck in old ways? Because Uranus wants to change the old way. And that's in the future. And Uranus rules Aquarius, which is talking about friends as well. Friendships. Things changing. And it's karmic change as well, right? Because Saturn also rules Aquarius, co-ruling. Let's look at what the card that is at the top of the reading for you guys, which is, the ascendant position, what you're rising into, right? What's being projected, what's sort of like creeping over the horizon for you. Two of Cups. This is healing. And this is healing from a relationship, right? It's talking about balancing out your emotions as well. I know, I love winking. I don't know why. It's Venus and Cancer. And Venus and Cancer, it's kind of like the planet is in the sign that squares the planet that it naturally is in, right? But Libra is very intuitive as well, being that it's the 7th house and it's related to that energy of the Chariot, right? Which is talking about victory, moving forward, weighing things out, making some, choices that come from wisdom, that come from experience, And this could even be just you kind of like dealing with the way that you may have allowed yourself to feel within a relationship, right? It is related to the High Priestess, being that it's a 2. So it's talking about things being revealed to you from someone that you may have shared some kind of intimacy with, relationship-wise, Because this is definitely talking about the truth of our feelings and where they come from. Because this is a pure place. And Cancer is the first water sign, which talks about, I feel. How do you feel about this relationship? What it is, what it is. What is it that you would like to change upon reflecting on how you feel about a reality that you have allowed yourself to exist in? Or to coexist in? Because the 2s do talk about coexisting, right? Because there's the truth of something, then there's always something on the other side. This is talking about the other side of the coin too, right? What's on the other side of the mirror? You. What's looking back at you? Cleaning, healing. It's also talking about a change in perspective in terms of a relationship, right? A change in feeling as well. This is also intuitive energy, Venus being in Cancer, right? Creativity. Some of you need to submerge yourself in creativity or in art, something that's going to be a part of your healing, because this kind of talks about process too, right? Moving forward. You know, this could be a new relationship for some of you that are in the place of receiving a new relationship. You know who you are. You know. I think my roommate is coming back. He's back. All right. Anyway, Scorpio, that's going to be it for you. Hey, Antonio. I'm just finishing. I pulled the last card. So, you know, this could just be kind of like also a relationship finding balance again, right? Because it is talking about weighing things out, and it is talking about, you know, calibrating. And it might even be talking about home and business, right? What something might be being reflected back to you. Did you bring another plant? I see stuff moving. Foliage. Okay, yes. So, Scorpio, if you would like to get a reading with me Sunday, tomorrow, if you're in the New York area, I'm going to be giving readings at Shanti. Okay, the address is 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues in the Union Square area, East Village. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, Providence Tarot. My personal account is NYC Kendrick. And I believe that is it, Scorpio. Happy birthday season. I'll see you in December. You're in LA. Well, you can email Providence Tarot Kendrick at gmail.com if you'd like to get a reading from me. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. I'll get back to you with those prices. Okay, and I can do a video, a private link on YouTube and send that to you. Then you can watch the video as many times as you would like. Canada, anywhere. Australia, I've given readings to people everywhere. Okay, thank you. Happy Halloween. Gotta show you this. I love this. Okay, you know I have Scorpio in my first house. Happy Mercury retrograde. You're welcome.